Hi there, happy 6th day of Elul. We are coming to you again from two different continents. Howard and I are in Siena, Italy, and Andrine, Andrine and Dominic are in Portland, Oregon. And I'm going to talk a little bit about who can sound the shofar. And this a little bit relates to what I talked about a couple days ago about the fact that the shofar exists because it was not specifically mandated to be played by priests, but could be played by anyone. So I want to reference a few things from the Talmud where the rabbis offer their opinions about different things, and then it gets modified, and sometimes they come up with some sort of an opinion at the end, and sometimes they don't. So the rabbis taught that, quote, all are under obligation to blow the shofar, priests, Levites, and Israelites, proselytes, emancipated slaves, tumtum and androgynous people, and one who is half slave and half free. So what that means is you'll notice that it didn't say like men, it said Israelites. That means women can play the shofar, so that's kind of great. But then there's a sort of a funny list of people. Tumtum are considered someone of an uncertain sex that would be considered non-binary today, and that is wonderful that is something that is written in our ancient texts. Androgynous, we know what that means, someone who has genitalia of both genders, or again falls in nowadays in modern language in a non-binary or a choice sort of situation. And then a half slave is one who has two masters, one master who has freed him and one who has not. So, which is strange. And then they modify it and they say, well, because the Torah is very concerned with blemishes, as we know, when they did the sacrifices, like the animals needed to be not blemished. So there is a certain looking at people as being blemished, which obviously we don't do today. But during this rabbinic time where they were trying to figure out all this stuff, they said, well, okay, so the androgynous or the non-binary person can play the shofar, but only for each other, not for the congregation. And then they started getting more and more qualified about who can play for the congregation. So for instance, the half slave can't play for the congregation because you don't know which half is playing. It says this, whether it's the half that was free.
I noticed that slaves aren't on the list.
Well, so emancipated slaves
right, but
can
not
play.
People who are still slaves.
No, because a slave can't play. So you don't know which half of the person is playing if it's a half slave. And then, but in the final analysis, well, so a minor child cannot play for the congregation. In other words, for the requirement to hear the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. These people can play it the rest of the time, but this is for this ritual of hearing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. And in the final analysis, they say, you know what? Actually, for that important thing, we shouldn't let all these just random people play it. It needs to be played by someone who knows what they're doing. Because, for instance, otherwise someone who is not as learned might do something like carry the shofar down the street on Rosh Hashanah, which is not allowed, and they might not know how to play the calls. So in the final analysis, they say for the ritual purposes, it should be played by someone who knows how to do it.
Well, that's a good
They don't qualify who that is, just someone who's skilled. So everyone is invited to play the shofar according to the rabbis.
Just from my personal experience, thinking about whether minors can play or not, is that I played for the congregation. I played for the junior congregation after my bar mitzvah, so I was no longer a minor.
Yeah, right. Minor meaning before bar mitzvah. Okay, so now we're going to hear us people over here play the shofar. I'm going to call first. Devarim Trua. Tikia.
Tikia. Shavarim.
Tikia.
Tikia again. Tikia.
Happy 6th day of Elul. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for your
See you
help, Donna.
tomorrow.